Hello, a very good evening to you. This is Gautam Bhattacharya from Gulf News. Here we are to present you our show of Straight Bat with Anis Sajan, Mr. Cricket UAE. With me this evening is my colleague aka Satish, and the two strong supporters who never let the flag down even in times of crisis. I mean, I've got Sai Prasad of Mumbai, the invincible Mumbai, and of course Shah Inayat of Hyderabad. Hi, good evening. My first question to Anis, obviously, uh, it will be a pity that this group will not be there when they reassemble after the mega auction. So, how was their journey? How have they achieved? I mean, we were hoping against hope that if something happens, that didn't happen ultimately. So, what's your take on that, Anis?
Thank you, Gautam. Hi, Satish. Hi, Sai. Hello to the other fan who's also there with us, Inayat, if I'm not wrong. Anyway, you know what? Since you asked me about Mumbai game, and the moment they won the toss, I had a gut feeling that they will go for it. They will have the intent. And the way Ishan Kishan started, it was like the old Ishan Kishan we wanted to see, the big bash Ishan Kishan, and then the splendid innings by Surya Kumar Yadav. They played innings which was jaw dropping. I had no words, and I always believed that Mumbai had it in them. And trust me, had they made that backdoor entry, and as all of us were saying, if they make that backdoor entry, Mumbai would have been hard to stop. But you can't take it away from KKR. They were the deserved team to go into the next round. Mumbai might feel that they were robbed off by RR, but the better team went into the next round. But full marks to Mumbai for showing intent and giving it the fight.
I'll just quickly come to Satish before moving on to our two fans for the show. Satish, the two innings of Ishan Kishan and Surya, they were both scored in their 80s, but still they were slightly different in their approach. I mean, Ishan was as if he was a kind of a video game replay in motion, and Surya was finding all the angles, his pickup shots, straight down the ground. So how do you assess these two innings coming before the World Cup as it is?
Gautam, they played true to their potential. Like Ishan Kishan is known to hit those big hits, and then they used to play those daring shots. And Surya Kumar Yadav is an accumulator. He finds these spaces, and he's a kind of a traditional test match cricket, one-day cricket, T20 player. So he's a very traditional player. So this is exactly the approach they generally would do, and they've done it in the past. Unfortunately, it's coming in a bit late. Maybe this is the way they should have played a few games earlier. Even if 50% of this, if they had done something, they would have at least got one more win in their under the belt, which would have which would have given them that extra 2 points, would have helped them to go further. And yeah, as Anis Bhai said, this was a mind-boggling knocks from the Mumbai, and the way they approached. That's for no reason. They are 4-time defending champions. They showed it. They had it in them. That's attitude. Fine. They had it in them, and then maybe that's what somewhere it didn't click in the UAE leg, especially, which they would. I'm sure they would rue their drawbacks as they go by.
Right. Yeah, Sai, I'll just come to you. Talking about Mumbai, I mean, you see, that aura of invincibility which they had built, over the years, that seemed to have been lacking even in the India leg. They were, the middle order was failing to click. Then the bowlers, in fact, I remember Chahar was very good during that leg, so they managed to defend those targets. Anyway, in the end, it didn't happen. So how do you assess the performance? I mean, two titles of two back-to-back titles, only two teams have done so far, MI and Chennai. And that is, for some reason, they're quite the most consistent teams out there. So overall, what's your assessment as a fan, and how do you look forward to 2022?
See, first of all, I think they need to go back to the dressing room and see, look at the combination, what they need to do, because sometimes they get mixed up with the combinations, and either it goes with Kunal Pandya, and they're giving too much reliance on Kunal Pandya and Hardik Pandya, though they are the stars, young stars, but they are giving too much reliance on that, and they must try for some revisiting the combinations And also they must see, I mean, as before we were talking about the intent from day one, there should be from the day one, there should be an intent in the game. And I mean, from the first game itself, they lost the first three matches of the UAE. I mean, I think they lost it there, but they came back very well, and I'm very happy for Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar Yadav. They were we bit out of form in the first two matches, but once they've come back, was fantastic. And again, now the auction's coming up. It'll be a difficult choice for them, whom they need to retain and whom they need to give up. So it's going to be a challenge for them.
Yes, I'll just quickly ask you that, if you are to retain 3 Indians, I mean, that is the talk, it's either 2 or 3. See, 1 or 2 are no-brainers. Whom would you like to retain?
Rohit, Ishan, and Bumrah. I would go for these 3.
Yeah. Okay, I'll come to Inayat now. A rather disappointing performance from Sunrisers. I mean, ever since they came in this avatar, they used to be one of the most consistent teams. I mean, I think 5 playoffs they did in 7 years, and this is the 8th year, and 1 title. So we know that a number of things had gone wrong. So how should the team rebuild in Inayat? I mean, what should they do in the next mega auction? What's your take as a fan?
Again, the mega auction, they have to first go for the middle order, because I think SRH middle order is the weakest in all teams. First, they should be concentrating on buying some Indian players again, because we don't have any recognized batting player who is playing for India, or playing in Ranji and playing very good. We have very young talent. Yes, Samad is playing. Yes, Priyam Gurk, today he played well. Abhishek, yes, he is playing good. But still, they don't have experience, wherein, they can put Sunrisers out of, any situation where they need to go and explode, like today, Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar did. So they have to focus first on, middle order. Then again, they have to go for openers too. I think Warner might not play next season. They have to go for Bairstow will be there. I think they should retain Bairstow, and they have to think about Williamson as a captain. I would like to have an Indian captain, so that they have an option of overseas player where they can rotate one more player. They have Rashid. He has to be there in team anyhow, because he is the most consistent bowler who is performing for all the seasons. Again, the middle order and the openers might a concern for SRH.
These are the slots. Yeah, these are the slots. Okay, I'll come back to our Mr. Cricket and his bike. You see, I mean, see, the mega auction is a subject which it will need a separate episode, I think, for us. But if we look at the first, the qualifier and then the eliminator, so Delhi versus Chennai. So there, Delhi have lost today's game, and they have lost, surprisingly tamely. And then you have got RCB versus KKR, I mean, which can be quite an intriguing clash. So there is a day's gap in between. But I would like to pick your brains as to, what do you see in the coming 2 days, those 10th and 11th?
Gautam, I was debating on the other show, and they asked me, who is your pick? To be very honest, all 4 teams have some weaknesses. If I have to talk about CSK, apart from the openers, the middle order has been struggling. The bowling has been decent, but the middle order has been badly struggling. Now, Delhi, the bowling has been their biggest strength, but I'm afraid Ashwin is probably the weak link in the team because he's so far not come good in this tournament. And even their batting, if you talk about, generally it's the Dhawans and the Ayers, and if you talk about Prithvi Shaw giving them the runs, the middle order bearing one knock from Hetmeyer, which he was dropped in that game. Now we talk about KKR. This is one team which looks dangerous. Apart from Morgan, everybody seems to be on form. And if Dreyer comes into the side, I'm not sure he's injury free or no, but if he comes into the side, they are the most potent and dangerous side. And when it comes to RCB, it's been the big show, rather the Maxwell show. And if AB de Villiers fires, I know there are no ifs and buts, but if AB de Villiers fires, RCB is a threat to watch. But if I have to pick one team, I would back KKR out of the 4. I had said CSK earlier, but now CSK, I believe, have peaked too early, and they look very bad if the openers go early.
That's a very interesting point, Manish Bhai. But before moving on, I'd also like to ask you that in the RCB batting lineup, in the middle order, people used to call that it was a 2-person team. But the way Maxi has come to the party, I mean, this was his 6th 50. So he didn't, he more than made up for AB's not being in particularly good form. I mean, today he scored some 26, but it's a low-stake match. But what do you feel about this new wicketkeeper batsman, Shikhar Bharat? He's a product of domestic cricket, and he doesn't have any nerves. What do you make of him?
You know what, Gautam, to be very honest, I think 5-6 games ago when he was playing, I had in fact asked one of you guys that why is he in the team? Does he deserve a place in the team?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he shut my mouth today by playing an innings under pressure. After having lost both Padikkal and Virat, he took the responsibility on his shoulders. And like you mentioned, AB de Villiers is still not finding his rhythm with the bat. And with Maxwell putting on 100 runs, and that 6 which he scored reminded me of the 6 which Javed Mian had scored of the last ball of Chetan Sharma. It was a full toss. The only difference that went over the mid-wicket his head. This went straight over the bowler's head. But having said that, I'm happy today AB de Villiers came on to bat, because that crucial 26, more than the 26 runs, he batted 26 balls or 25 balls, whatever balls. That was batting time was required. And that will give him some confidence, because time spent on the crease helps you when you go on. And of course, Maxwell's show is amazing. And if Virat comes to the party, it's going to be fun for RCB. And I hope they sign off with a win, just because it will give them confidence for Team India, because he's going to sign off with Team India in the World Cup.
Well, Satish, your dispassionate thoughts on Chennai, Delhi, and RCB KKR.
Shyam, Gautam, the advantage with all these 3 teams which you have said, there is openers who are firing, there is one person in the middle order, and there is one person later in the middle order. If you look at Chennai, the openers are firing. In between, there is, your Jadeja or your somebody, like who comes in at that number 3, number 4 slot. Number 4 slot comes in and chips in with the runs, and then comes in later on as Jadeja comes and finishes it. Similarly, KKR has these 3 sets of players who are on form, I'm talking about, and RCB also. So these 3 teams are quite good, and I'm at last, finally, it is on that day how you handle the pressure is what makes it the difference. And there I would go with CSK, because they have done this of all the teams apart from Mumbai. It's CSK who has handled the pressure much better than anybody else. So I would go with CSK for the first game, because today under pressure, Delhi didn't know how to handle it. So that shows that there is a weak link there as well, apart from the bowling or batting or whatever you can call it on the field. But there is a mental approach which makes it that go the extra yard to the finish line. I would say CSK has got that advantage over the rest. Of course, with teams like Kohli and AB and Maxwell, I would also keep RCB, my other favorite, as another potent team that can win their match against KKR.
Right. Okay, I'll come to Sai. Yes, your prediction for the for the playoff, the qualifier and the eliminator.
My heart says RCB, my head says KKR. RCB because RCB is Virat Kohli and it's his last IPL tournament as a captain. So probably the playing his 200 plus matches for RCB. All the players may gang up again with the Josh to give him a send off. KKR because they've got the best 3 strikers. They've got the best 3 strikers and the best 3 bowlers also. I mean, Venkatesh Iyer and Rahul Tripathi and all coming to the party. And also Mavi and Chakravarti and also doing very well.
And what about DC and Chennai? And that's the qualifier. I mean, so you win that and you get into the final.
It will be Chennai, definitely. It will be Chennai. Sure. So Chennai will take over DC because DC is coming down.
Right. Inayat, a quick word from you on the prediction for these 2 games.
Both teams I'm supporting actually playing against each another, RCB and KKR. Anyone who wins, no matter what, I will be, disheartened because I just want Kohli to win and I also want KKR to win. And for
no, don't say let cricket be the winner. I want predictions from you. the two predictions.
Thank God he didn't say Hyderabad should win.
Next season.
KKR. I want to go with KKR.
Okay.
For
Okay.
first match, and for second, I think Delhi will, definitely they will try their best, but Chennai is more experienced than them.
Gautam, we want your answer now. And why?
Yeah, correct.
No, I think for the Chennai Delhi match, I would by and large go with the same reasons which Satish has offered. I mean, if Delhi can cross this hurdle, see, there is no Bombay in front of them. I mean, if they can cross this hurdle, they've got a very good chance of ending their title drought, because for 3 years they've done quite well. But still, I would give Chennai that big match temperament a bit of edge. And for the RCB KKR match, well, the heart and head both says KKR. So let us see how it goes.
Who will win
It's
the
been a
cup?
very good,
Who will
very
win
good
the cup?
comeback. Yeah, very good comeback.
Who will win the cup?
Cup, yes. See, KKR's journey once again in 2014 started from the UAE. So it acted as a lucky charm. That's why they've gone and staying in Abu Dhabi once again. So let's see how it goes. I will leave it hanging at that. Thank you so much, Anis bhai, for your time. Thank you, Satish. Thank you, Nayat and Sai, for staying up late. We are almost there. Thanks once again for your time.
But
making this show.
it's an excellent day, very entertaining day for cricket. As such,
Superb,
that.
superb.
Absolutely.
So the final
Absolutely.
day produced lots of runs.
I mean, it's a pity that you couldn't watch both simultaneously,
Both
but they had their
simultaneously,
reason. They had their reason to do that. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
and,
guys.
Good night.